So data collection plays a big role in a lot of what we do, and it can be tricky to try and find the right type of method of collecting data so that we're able to see progress and still that it doesn't hold the learner back because we're waiting for the data to show that progress. So we really want to strike a good balance between showing progress but also allowing the student to learn. So the first type we'll discuss is rating scale. Now this is really good for collecting data for natural environment teaching for a student just starting out. The idea is that we don't want a therapist to meet a student and just be so consumed by collecting data that they forget to play and interact with the child. So creating a really efficient way of collecting data at the end of the session or at the end of the day so that we're still able to see progress but not let it take over the session. So we would use rating scale data for that. Another type of data that gives us a lot more information would be taking something like frequency data on how often a behavior is happening or duration data, like how long it's happening for. These come in very handy when we want to track negative behavior. So we can track how often negative behavior is happening, but also how often the replacement behaviors are happening. So we can track things like asking for an escape. How often do they ask appropriately? Or how long did meltdowns last? And frequency and duration both give us an idea of whether any intervention that we're putting in place is working or if it's not, and they're not too cumbersome for anyone to be keeping track of. Now, another way of taking data is probe data. And this is very good for students who maybe don't need a lot of exposure to the same teaching trial, or if they're moving through targets really quickly and you want to be able to cycle them through things, and you could just take probe data on the first trial or the first exposure and then do a lot more teaching after that, but just have them be able to move through it a little bit faster. So for expressive labels, for instance, you could pick 10 targets of expressive labels, run some probe data on each one, and the ones that they got right, they can master through if they've met criteria, and the ones that they've gotten wrong, you do a lot of teaching on, and then they can get 10 new targets the next day if they've mastered through them. Another type of data collection would be trial by trial. This is kind of like the classic, every trial that you run, you take data on, and criteria of mastery could be something like 80% over 2 days. This is really good for teaching programs that are structured, that you can get a clear beginning and end, so you know when the trial starts and when it ends and what you're taking data on. It's good for students who need more intensivity, who are sitting at a table and you're doing a lot of trials of the same target. Then this could be a really good way of teaching and learning because they're getting a lot more exposure. It's also great to encourage therapists to run trials more than once. So if they see 10 data points that they need to fill, they're thinking that they need to do a little bit more teaching on that target, which is probably a good thing for most students. So those are only a few of the many ways of collecting data. There are a lot more, but the idea is that you need to pick one that's going to match well with the student, with the target that you're teaching, and with the therapist, so that the data is doable and it's not getting in the way of learning, but it's showing learning and it's allowing the student to make progress.